Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to RiverWoods Exeter 101 webinar. This is our monthly webinar that we host to help you get more connected and informed about RiverWoods Exeter. And in the next hour, we're going to be providing a lot of information about us. My name is Lisa Clark. I'm sales manager here at RiverWoods Exeter, and I am joined today by Chrissy Cady, who's one of our senior living sales counselors. Not joining us today is Dan Witham, but some of you may have already been in touch with Dan by phone or email. And between the three of us, it's our role to help you get acquainted with RiverWoods Exeter and decide if this might be a place that you want to call home someday. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. You are all on mute, but we are going to have an opportunity for questions at the end of the session today. And you can submit your questions through the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. I would suggest you hold on questions until we get towards the end, because chances are we will probably be answering much of what is in your head right now as a curiosity. We always welcome suggestions on how we can improve our presentations. And if you have an idea for a future topic, please don't hesitate to let us know and drop us a line. All right, so let's talk about the beginning, our founders and mission of RiverWoods Exeter. The original dream of RiverWoods was created around the kitchen tables of these two ladies, Mariana Hatch, who lived in Durham, and Rosemary Coffin, who lived in Exeter. These visionary women began planning in the early 1990s with the goal of building a community where they could meet new friends, get involved in causes that they cared about, and stop worrying about their future healthcare needs. So they, through many years and lots of effort, created RiverWoods Exeter, which opened in 1994. And now, more than 35 years after their first meeting, we now have a RiverWoods Durham, which opened in November 2019. And then also RiverWoods Manchester, which we acquired in 2016. So what began as a dream of a small group of New Hampshire residents who wanted to create a better way to improve the experience of aging for others has now flourished into three different communities. The one in Exeter, again, which opened in 1994. RiverWoods Manchester, which we actually acquired from another company in 2016, and then RiverWoods Durham, which we built as a new community and opened in 2019. These three communities are supported by the RiverWoods Group. We are a not-for-profit organization that is governed by a CCRC board, which stands for Continuing Care Retirement Community. So that board, which has several of our residents on it, is the governing body for these three communities. They consult with our system CEO, whose name is Justine Vogel. And she reports into the system board. The system board is a volunteer board of directors which focuses on mission and future growth of our organization. The group, the RiverWoods Group, is the entity which provides professional fee-based services to our three communities, which includes services within finance, information technology, human resources, marketing, and quality. The group will also fund any at-risk portions of projects within the three communities and new ventures that we may want to expand into. But it's really important to note that all three of our RiverWoods communities are financially independent of one another. And as such, they each have an annual opportunity to provide additional funding to the RiverWoods Group to support their strategic mission and future growth. So let's talk about RiverWoods Exeter. RiverWoods Exeter, again, which opened in 1994, actually has three neighborhoods, which we actually call campuses, but we consider ourselves to be one community here in Exeter. The Woods campus, which has about 200 apartments, opened in 1994. The second campus that we opened was the Ridge in 2004, and that has 81 apartments and 11 cottages. And then the Boulders campus opened in 2010, which is comprised of 75 apartments and 24 cottages. All three of these campuses are located within our 200 acres of land here in Exeter, and each campus has all the necessary amenities that you would need, including dining, fitness programs, art studios, libraries, and community gathering spaces. So while you have everything you would need in one campus, we do encourage residents to move about across the other two campuses and use the amenities and participate in programs at those, because we do consider ourselves one cohesive community here. It's important to know when you are looking at communities what kind of accreditation they may or may not have. We are very proud to share that RiverWoods Exeter is accredited by an organization called CARF International, and CARF stands for the Commission for the Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities. They are a nonprofit accreditor of health and human services worldwide. So RiverWoods Exeter is accredited by this organization because we offer the full spectrum of healthcare here, which includes rehabilitation facility. Only about 10% of continuing care retirement communities are actually accredited. We were among the earliest to receive accreditation in 1999. And just this past fall, we were reaccredited for the next 5 years. So if you want to know more about CARF, you can go to their website, which we've listed here. It's carf.org. And you can explore what other continuing care communities that you might be considering are also accredited. I'd like to talk about the concept of life care. I know we have a number of folks on the webinar today who are probably at various points in their learning curve as they explore continuing care or life care communities. Those two terms are used interchangeably. CCRC is pretty much the same as continuing care retirement community, which is also the same as a life care community. It is where you would come while you're living independently, and then have access to the various levels of supported living, advanced health care. In reality, what we are is a long-term care insurance product. So this is not real estate that you're purchasing when you come to live at RiverWoods. You are purchasing or entering into a long-term care insurance contract with us. You will pay an entry fee when you come live here, of which 90% is refunded back to your estate, either when you move out or when you pass. So because of that, it does serve as a form of estate preservation. The fees that you pay to live here each month, which cover a very wide spectrum of services, which I'll be reviewing shortly, because we are a type A contract here, the fees are predictable. So the monthly fees that you pay cover any level of health care that you might need, whether you're living independently and accessing our wellness clinics, or you are living within an assisted living apartment or nursing care. So your monthly fee will cover any level of health care, and you won't see a change in that, except for when you move into healthcare, you'll pay for 2 more meals a day. So because of that, some people really prefer a type A CCRC contract because it allows them to have some predictability in their monthly expenses. We offer a really broad spectrum of healthcare resources here at RiverWoods Exeter. So we are really resourced to support not only future healthcare needs, but your healthcare needs today. Starting in independent living, we have wellness clinics that are staffed by a nurse practitioner and an RN and a social worker. And they are there not as a replacement for your primary care physician, but they can often save you a trip to your primary care physician. They are staffed Monday through Friday. They have drop-in hours as well as hours by appointment. So if you have something that's concerning you, you can make a visit to them and get treated. And they also can monitor chronic conditions that you may be living with as well. Beyond that, if you need a higher level of supported living, we have assisted living apartments here, both 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. And we also offer memory support and nursing care, which are both provided in private suites. We also can provide you with respite care. So if you are recovering from some sort of either planned or unplanned event, you're able to do that within our healthcare center, or you might have a partner who needs support and you need to go off and travel. We can care for your partner in respite care if they have declining healthcare needs. Our healthcare center is overseen by Dr. Timothy Keenan, who is affiliated with Core Physicians here in Exeter. And most of the services that you will receive within our healthcare areas are covered by your monthly service fee. If they are actual medical treatments that qualify for reimbursement by Medicare, we will certainly be billing Medicare for those services. But you would rarely see any sort of incremental fee in healthcare, except for those additional 2 meals a day that I spoke about earlier. In addition to all of these healthcare services that we are able to provide within our community, there are several hospitals in the area, including the Exeter Hospital, which is just 3 miles away, which is affiliated with Beth Israel Lahey Clinic. We have Portsmouth Hospital, which is about 25 minutes away in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, very well known for their cardiac care. And then we have Wentworth Douglas Hospital in Dover, New Hampshire, again, about a 25-minute drive, which is part of the Massachusetts General Network. So lots of good resources within the region, and I would say many of our residents are getting everything they need within Exeter Hospital's services. Now, we're going through a little bit of an evolution right now with healthcare at RiverWoods Exeter. And those of you who are more local to the Seacoast area have probably heard about this because there's been a little bit of media coverage around it. When we originally built our community, we designed it so that each of our 3 campuses had its own healthcare lodge. And that healthcare lodge would provide assisted living apartments, long-term care, and memory support. And we're still doing that today. And we provide short-term rehabilitation services at our Ridge campus as well. So if you're coming out with either a planned or unplanned event, you can do your rehab here at the Ridge campus. But we've had a lot of challenges with this. Staffing inefficiencies being the main one, very difficult to staff 3 small healthcare centers with 24/7 nurses, particularly in this labor environment now where we're facing a real constraint on healthcare employees. Each of our 3 campuses, particularly the first one we built, has very limited amenities. And it's an older building with a lot of limitations on how much technology we can bring into that building. So quite a few things have changed since we originally opened this community 30 years ago. So we have decided to transition to more of a centralized healthcare model. So we have plans to build a central healthcare center that will provide all of the same levels of care that we provide now, in one building. So we'll have assisted living apartments, we'll have long-term care, suites, We will offer short-term rehab, and great benefit of this centralization is that we will have a distinct memory support area with staff that's very highly trained in dementia, in caring for residents with dementia. The benefits of this, first of all, it's going to be a beautiful building. I'll show some images shortly. We're going to employ a biophilic design, which means we're designing it so that the residents have more connection to nature. There will be more light coming into the buildings. There will be rooftop deck, access to courtyards. So a lot of connection with nature in this building design. We'll be able to incorporate more technology, which is so important. There's been a lot that's changed in technology in the last 30 years. It's allowing healthcare workers to do their jobs better. And we'll be able to solve for some of the staffing inefficiencies that currently exist with having 3 small healthcare centers. So if we're short on staffing in a certain area of the building, it's much easier to move a nurse from one floor to another when they're in the same location. So we're very excited about this. We are in the process of going through getting approval from the town planning board. We have a meeting tonight with them. And the building itself, here's some images of it. The upper left picture is a rendering of the outside of the building. The lower left is a rendering of the courtyards that we're envisioning having here. And then on the right side is a rendering of the lobby. But just the vision of having, you know, bright spaces, lots of greenery, lots of community areas for people to hang out and have coffee or sit by the fire, or just socialize and feel involved and engaged with the community. Now, as I said, we are going through the approval process with the town. Those of you who are local know there's been some pushback on that from our abutting neighbors, you know, and we're kind of working through some of those concerns, but we're confident that this will be approved, and we're excited to break ground, which we're hoping will be this summer, with completion sometime in 2027. The location of this is going to be on our property. We'll be at the corner of White Oak Drive and Route 111. We currently have a building there, which is where the RiverWoods group is located, as well as we have a recreational park there. So the new building will go on that land. We'll be providing 24-hour transportation between the buildings and excuse me, I have to mute my phone. And we'll be able to get people back and forth. All right, so the other thing I should note is when we move our residents that are currently in the 3 lodges today into this new building, we're actually going to be repurposing that space that they've moved out of into more independent apartments, which is great news for all of you on the webinar today, because you may have heard that we have a long wait time here. And our plan is to add about 70 more apartments of a variety of different sizes across the 3 campuses that probably will be complete sometime in 2028, 2029. Okay, let's talk about what's included in your monthly fees. So you will have a lot included, starting with the dining program. So the monthly fee that you will pay covers a certain amount of dining points, and I'm going to cover that in a little bit, how that works. You'll have access to the fitness centers and the indoor pools at each campus. You will have access to the entertainment and cultural opportunities. Chrissy will talk a little bit more about that, but there's a lot that happens both on campus and off campus. We have a terrific transportation team that will get you to the grocery, the bank, medical appointments. That's all covered by your monthly fee. We provide housekeeping services on a bi-weekly basis. We come in every 2 weeks and clean your apartment or your cottage. And then we also, on a weekly basis, provide flat linen service. So we will launder your sheets and your towels. We take care of all the interior and exterior home maintenance. Your utilities are included in your monthly service fees, with the exclusion of cable TV, Wi-Fi, and local phone. And all three of those services are about $95 a month bundled together. Your monthly service fee includes access to the wellness clinic. So if you have a sore throat or you need to get something checked out, you can drop in and see the nurse practitioner, and all that visit is covered by your monthly service fee. And then lastly, we provide 24-hour security and an emergency response system within your apartment. A little bit about the dining program. Again, included in your monthly service fee is a certain number of dining points that can be used for eating in the dining room. It can be used for takeout meals or guest meals. It can be used for catering, and it can also be used for shopping at our marketplace, which includes perishable grocery items like eggs and milk and juice and ice cream and tuna salad and all sorts of other grocery items. We work to be sensitive to residents' dietary preferences and restrictions, including vegetarian choices. And we always mark things that are gluten-free or dairy-free on our menu items. And we try to source as much as we can locally from our local New Hampshire farmers to make sure that we're working with the freshest ingredients and also supporting our local economy. You're looking here at a picture of the dining room in the Boulders campus. All three of our dining rooms have beautiful high ceilings and fireplaces, really a cozy place to eat. This is a picture of the bistro at the Ridge campus. So in the foreground is a more casual dining space. In the background through that doorway is a more formal dining room at the Ridge campus. And you can eat at any dining room at any campus, regardless of where you live. As I mentioned earlier, we really encourage people to flow back and forth between the three campuses so that you can get to know residents living on other campuses. We also have country stores at each of the three campuses. So this would be a store where you can get dry goods, greeting cards. This picture is of the country store at the Woods campus, which has the most robust inventory of items. And again, if you were living at the Boulders or the Ridge campus, you can always shop at the country store at the Woods campus because it is chock full of pretty much everything you would need on a weekly basis. I'm going to transition this to Chrissy now, who can talk more about the lifestyle here, as well as give you a peek at what some of our residences look like inside.
Thank you, Lisa. It's a pleasure to be with all of you today on this snowy day. If you're living in New England, you know what I'm talking about. And more snow to come on Sunday, it sounds like. But you're looking at a picture here of one of our residents with her dog, Belle, enjoying a nice spring day. So let's hope that's in our future soon. I'm going to be talking to you about our community itself, showing you some apartment styles, and also some, tell you about kind of the activities that are happening throughout our campus at all times. This is a picture here of our Boulders Hall, which is our largest gathering space. It seats up to 200 people, theater style. And we host many of our large lectures, performances, and resident parties here. And we have events such as concerts, lectures, community updates, and you can always choose from a wide variety of events that are listed on your biweekly calendar. We do happen to have a community room at each campus in varying sizes, and it can accommodate different kinds of performances and presentations. But it's nice that each campus can boast that they can host any number of events at their campus. And you can go between the three different campuses to enjoy those events. One example of some of the things we have had here at the Boulders, we posted our local author Dan Brown, and we often have political candidates invited here during our primary season. So we had Chris Christie here on the day that he suspended his campaign, but we've had many other candidates here of all different political parties, and so it's always very interesting to learn about each candidate. Talking about the performances and lectures and events that happen at these community rooms, I think it's important to bring your attention to the educational enrichment that is here. We have quite a robust education committee. It's a volunteer committee of all of our residents on this committee. And their mission is, it's an all-campus committee. Mission is to provide enrichment opportunities to our residents through educational programs, lectures, short stories, short courses, I'm sorry, catering to a wide variety of interests. And we bring in both inside and outside speakers to create these events. Our committee, as I mentioned, is resident run, and they meet regularly to discuss opportunities for the different lectures and trips and courses. And then they also review committee duties and work in collaboration with our community life team here to promote the events and book the spaces on each campus. Just to give you an idea of the number of events that happen here in 2023, there were more than 20 in-person programs provided across all three campuses. And the topics were a wide variety of interests, including arts, history, crafts, performances, archaeology, geology, travel, nature, the local services and town departments in Exeter, literature, our environment, issues around aging, and many more. The education and knowledge is very important to everybody in our community. So in that being in that, each campus has a library. This is a picture here of our Woods Library. We have one also at the Ridge and at the Boulders. It is on an electronic catalog, so if you can't find a book at one of the communities, you can usually find it at the other, and it will be ferried over to you. And then the other thing that you may not know, but as a resident of the town of Exeter, we also have a wonderful Exeter Town Library downtown, which has a lot of also wonderful programs, and it's just a very nice library to be in. The library committee is another strong committee here at RiverWoods, and they often get together to discuss what new books they'll be ordering for each library. They do have a budget, and they volunteer at each library to provide assistance to anyone who's at the library. Moving on to exercising your body, you can exercise your brain, and then after that, come exercise your body. Each campus has an indoor pool and a hot tub. They each have a fully equipped fitness room and cardio room. We have wonderful classes, a fabulous fitness team that teaches classes to keep everyone moving, and always trying to bring new ones in to pique people's interests. So you can feel free to take a few laps in one of our pools, work out in our cardio room, enjoy one of our guided classes by one of our wonderful instructors. But on top of that, we also have a fabulous walking group, a cycling group, hiking group. Our campuses are connected by over 4 miles of hiking and snowshoe trails. And just to give you an indication of if you come in and you can't find the interest that you have, we had a resident coming in who still downhill skis, and he was really interested in getting a group of people together so that it was easier to travel back and forth to a ski resort. So he organized a lot of other people and went, I guess, weekly they will go to Gunstock. So not only can you downhill ski there, but you can cross-country ski there and snowshoe. And it's just an easy ride in one of our buses to the mountain. So things can always be added. You're looking here at our boulders pool, which is our largest pool, wonderful for swimming laps. But we also had a resident created volleyball group. So on Wednesday afternoons, you can often see a large group of residents playing volleyball. That's a very popular event here. And just to give you an indication, our pool is usually kept at about 84, comfortable 84 degrees. So you can feel comfortable swimming and also participating in our aqua aerobics classes. This is the Boulders cardio room. So just to show you, you have no excuse here not to get in your 30 minutes of cardio. There's a cardio room at each campus. This is the Boulders. We also have one at the Ridge and at the Woods as well. And don't forget about our pickleball players. I know there's a big craze out there. I'm sure many of you play. We have a very large group of enthusiastic pickleball players. And we had put in one of our pickleball courts here at Gooch Park. And pickleball became so popular, we've now added a second one. But you're looking at a picture of two of our happy pickleball players. And they're so enthusiastic that they're constantly trying to encourage new people to learn to play, including having educational classes to teach people how to get involved and start playing. We have always been very artistically inclined here. We had our founders, art was very important to them. And so because of that, each campus has at least one art studio on each campus. And we're always adding more art space for people to enjoy. This is a gentleman who had come in. He had enjoyed art in his younger years. Then life got very busy and he hadn't done it for quite some time. But when he moved in, he was just inspired by some of the artists that we have here. So now you can see him in our Pinkham Art Studio every morning perfecting his craft. And that's one thing that he's really enjoyed doing since he's moved here. But we also have a pottery studio in the Ridge campus, a creative art space at the Boulders campus. So you're always finding great places to spread out and work on your craft. This is a picture of our our Pinkham Art Studio, which is where you saw our previous resident there. And in this picture, you can really see the different amounts of things people can do here, including the basket weaving, which is a popular thing here to do to create a Nantucket basket. And there's a lot of beautiful light coming in for our painters. We also have woodworking artists here, and this is a group of our enthusiastic woodworkers. They create wonderful things such as trail signs for the trails around our campus, as well as benches for the trails, canoe paddles, cheese boards, various furniture. They craft bowls and jewelry boxes. So we have some really creative and talented woodworkers here as well. We have a beautiful woodworking studio here at the Woods campus and one also at the Ridge campus. And music is also important. You're looking at three members of our string quartet. Music is important here, from playing instruments. We've got some wonderful piano players. We have a women's barbershop quartet. We have somebody who started a recorder group, and when they started, they didn't even know how to play a recorder, and now they're playing intricate pieces every week. We also have a RiverWoods chorus, so if there are any men out there who are basses or tenors, we'd love to have you here. And the chorus meets regularly on Tuesday afternoons for rehearsal, and they perform 2 concerts a year, once at the Woods campus and once at the Boulders campus for everybody to enjoy it. We, as the RiverWoods Exeter community, really are the beneficiaries of this musical talent, because anytime we have an event here, we get the benefits of piano players or musical groups to help along with our events. And I'm sure there are some of you out there already starting to think about your gardens for the year. With the snow here, I don't think about gardens, but I'm sure a lot of you green thumb gardeners out there are thinking about it. And don't fret because if you're a gardener and you're leaving your large garden at home, you can still garden when you come to Riverwoods. We have a lot of different opportunities here for you. Some people continue gardening by helping our landscaping teams with the front entries of our campuses. But we also have raised garden beds for those of you who like to grow vegetables and flowers. We have a greenhouse in our Woods campus where you can put together your seeds and get them ready for the outdoor boxes. We have another active garden committee who works alongside our landscaping team to create and maintain the gardens throughout our campus. And we do make every effort to practice organic landscaping techniques. So we continue to get better at doing that as well. One interesting fact about Riverwoods is that we are home to the New Hampshire's largest arboretum with over 300 species of trees and shrubs throughout the 3 campuses. We also maintain beehives, which have become so successful that we're able to sell honey at our local country stores. And we have also accumulated 3 goats that we inherited from a new nearby farm, which is always fun to bring your walk down and meet the goats or bring your grandchildren to see them. It's a fun place to visit. Now we're going to move into our apartments and cottages, so you get a chance to see some of our options here. This is a picture of one of our cottages at the Boulders campus. Our apartments, as you may know, are fully equipped, have fully equipped kitchens in there, individually controlled HVAC. They're all Wi-Fi enabled. One of our main features of our apartments are our beautiful solariums, which you'll see as we go through some of the pictures. Every apartment comes with a storage area. And the nice thing about our community is that you have a 24-hour emergency response system. We have safety systems here. We also provide guest rooms for visitors throughout all 3 campuses. And each apartment comes with assigned parking, outdoor parking. We do have covered parking options, and the cottages come with 2 car garages as well. This picture is of one of our Trillium apartments at the Woods. And as I mentioned before, you can see in the foreground there our wonderful solarium, which brings in a lot of beautiful light into your main space. This also, so the Trillium, I should mention, is one of our large 1-bedrooms, and this is located at the Woods campus. But you can see some of our standard finishes that we're using when we upgrade apartments. Nice neutral colored paint, luxury vinyl plank in the common space. And in the same apartment, we've got a shot of the kitchen, which just shows you if we are replacing cabinets, we are using painted white shaker style cabinets, stainless steel appliances, and a choice of quartz or granite on your countertops. Now we're looking at one of our large 2-bedroom apartments over at our Ridge campus. And one of the things we've been doing as we renovate our large 2 bedrooms there is to open up our kitchen. So you can see that nice, large, ample space for countertop and a nice open kitchen concept. Again, you're looking at that beautiful solarium in the background, and it is bringing in a lot of beautiful light there. And this picture really showcases what you can do with your own apartment. You might have some beautiful pieces in your home that you really don't want to leave behind. And so this is a regular 2-bedroom at our Boulders campus. And they were able to bring in some of their favorite pieces and really make their home their own by bringing in basically using neutral colors for the apartment itself and bringing in their favorite pieces. You can see we have ample kitchen space in our cottages. This is a sample of one of our cottages and cottage kitchens. And again, standard finishes with stone countertops, our shaker style cabinets, and luxury vinyl plank. If you still like to cook, you've got plenty of space to do that. But don't forget, you also get one meal a day if you like, or you don't have to cook at all. When you're investigating Exeter, RiverWoods Exeter, I'm sure you're also looking at the surrounding town. So we are located near downtown Exeter. We have 200 acres near the Exeter River, easy access to Portsmouth and Manchester, an hour from Portland, an hour from Boston, quite close to the seacoast, and have great proximity to our mountains and lakes region. So there's a lot to enjoy around our area, not just within RiverWoods Exeter. So I encourage you to look at Seacoast Online to get a feel of what our whole community has to offer. You may already know this, but New Hampshire has quite a few tax advantages: no general sales tax, no personal income tax, no capital gains tax. We are one of the top ranked New England states and fifth lowest tax burden in the country. So we do like to bring in a little bit of our pricing just to give you an idea of the cost here. This is a range from between all of our apartments, from a studio apartment, which ranges in square footage about 600 square feet, to cottages, which are over 2,000 square feet. And you can look at the entrance fees, which range from about 230,000 all the way to just over $1 million. That's a first person entrance fee. If you look at the bottom of the screen, there is a second person entrance fee you would add for a second person of $60,000. And then our monthly service fees range anywhere from just over $3,000 to just over $9,000 a month. We have over 40 different floor plans, so lots of different price ranges. And again, the first person entrance fee is always based on the apartment size, as well as the monthly service fee. So now I've given you a little indication of what we do here and what the apartments look like. So I'm going to pass it back over to Lisa.
Great, thanks, Chrissy. So you're looking here at a picture of a very enthusiastic group of bocce players. We actually have two different bocce courts here, one at the Woods campus and one at the Ridge campus. So it is a favorite outdoor activity here. We also do have horseshoes. I got a question about croquet. We don't currently offer croquet, but that's not to say we won't in the future. So let's talk about the waitlist process. We do have a waitlist here at RiverWoods Exeter. And if you were interested in joining it, this is the process. So first of all, we estimate anywhere from 3 to 8 years wait time for an apartment or cottage here. It really depends on the floor plan. So the smaller apartments, like the 1-bedroom apartments, you're probably looking at 3 to 4 years, sometimes less. Anything larger than that, including a 1-bedroom plus den, you're looking at 5 or more years. The largest apartments, which are located at our Ridge and Boulders campuses, you're looking at probably a 6 to 8 year wait time. So it's good to plan early, and it's good to be flexible if you haven't planned early. But it's, our job to kind of help you determine whether it's likely that you might be offered something within your desired time frame here, and to help you with strategies on how you might get here sooner rather than later, which again involves some flexibility. If you wanted to apply to join the wait list, we do a financial qualification. So you would complete our application, which is called a confidential data profile. And then once you are approved and qualified, you would place a reservation fee with us. And that fee varies depending upon what size of apartment or cottage that you want to be listed for. So those fees range anywhere from $25,000 up to $99,000. That reservation fee will earn 4% simple interest if you become a resident. And if you decide to leave the wait list, you would get your reservation fee refunded with the exception of $1,000 cancellation fee. And if you do leave the wait list and don't come live here, we don't pay 4%. We pay 0.25% interest on your reservation fee. It's a very flexible process. You tell us when you feel like you're going to be ready. And if we were to call you before you were ready, there is not a penalty for that. If you're looking at other communities, they each have a slightly different process. Some communities have what they call a ready list. We do not have a ready list. We keep in close contact with our future residents who are on our wait list, and we work with you so that we're calling you when the time is right. So again, very flexible process here for our wait list. We're going to move into the questions and answers now. And Chrissy and I are going to start with a couple of questions that get most frequently asked of us. And then if we have not answered your questions, I encourage you to go to the Q&A box, which is located at the bottom of your screen, and you can submit your questions there and we'll answer what we can within the time that we have. The first question, Chrissy, would you like to start with this one?
Sure. First question, I have a long-term care insurance policy. Can I use this at RiverWoods Exeter? So long-term care is part of the services here at RiverWoods. We are considered a long-term care insurance package. So it is a little bit redundant if you have your own. Some people will choose to keep their policy because they've paid for quite a long time. They're not paying as much money now. And you are often able to file a claim once you are in our assisted living or nursing care, basically the healthcare area. The long-term care policy you have will reimburse you for part of your monthly service fee. And oftentimes, if you do want to bring in some in-home health care, you can be reimbursed with your long-term care. But you don't need it if you come to RiverWoods because you have that assurance that what you're paying for a monthly service fee will not increase as you need more levels of care.
Great, thanks, Chrissy. The next question is, what happens if one partner in a couple needs a higher level of care? So the beauty of our Type A contract is, as I mentioned earlier, you will pay the same amount of monthly fee whether you are living in independent living or you're living in assisted living or memory care or skilled nursing. And if one partner declines, their health declines, and they need a higher level of care, they could move into out of independent living and into an assisted living apartment or the appropriate level of care, while the healthier partner remains in their independent apartment. The monthly fee remains the same with the exception of the 2 additional meals for that person, the partner who moved over to a healthcare suite or apartment. So you're really occupying 2 different apartments, but continuing to pay the same fee that you did when you were occupying one apartment or cottage.
Okay, the next question. What if I'm not ready to move when you call me about an apartment? Do I go to the bottom of the list? So Lisa just touched briefly on this topic. And so I'll just reiterate. When your name is next on the list, we would call you to ask if you are ready or interested on an apartment we're offering. And if not, we just move to the next person on the list. No penalty to you at all. We just keep going. If you say you are interested, then we do conduct a final financial qualification. You have your health assessment, and then we will show you the apartment, and that is then called the formal offer or considered a formal offer. You will have, and then if at that time you decide against moving into that apartment, that would be considered a refusal, and you would have 3 refusals before going to the bottom of the list. So it's pretty flexible.
Right. And it's important to note, very few people get beyond the first offer because they know when they're ready And they've been here enough to know what apartments interest you. And Chrissy and I aren't going to call you if we don't think it's something that you would prefer. So as Chrissy said, it's a super flexible process. How long do I have to move in when I am offered an apartment or cottage? Contractually, you have 60 days would be the minimum from when we offer you an apartment. You've gone through your health qualification and your financial qualification, and you see the apartment and accept it. It usually takes us about 60 days to actually renovate that apartment. Sometimes it takes us less, but at the very least, you would have 60 days. That's what's written into our contract, that you would have 60 days before you would need to pay that entry fee. Um, and what we try to do is to call you in advance of that 60 days so that you have maybe 75 days, possibly 90 days. So when we have a sense that an apartment is going to be opening up, that's when we start contacting people on the wait list to see who's ready and who might be interested in that particular apartment. So we try to give you as much advance notice, but it would be a minimum of 60 days. Okay, we're opening up the question queue now. And we have a couple of questions on here. I will start with the first one, which says, what if I was in a 2-bedroom apartment and 5 years later wanted to move into a smaller unit? What's the financial implications and what would be the wait? We do have an internal move process here or policy that we use when it's needed. We do encourage people to choose the apartment size that will work for you, whether there's 2 people or 1 people in the apartment. Our experience is that people, as they get older, don't want to move. It's very hard, very stressful to move. So we encourage you to choose the space that will work for you long term. That said, sometimes people run into financial difficulties and they need to move into a smaller apartment, and they can go on to our internal wait list. So we do have an internal move policy. There is a wait time with that. And I don't want to get into all the details of the policy, but there is a wait time. It can take a few years sometimes. And there are some financial responsibilities as well for the person. So I guess my main point is you should choose the residence that you're delighted with from day one and that you plan to be in until that point in time that you might move over to a healthcare lodging. Chrissy, you want to answer the next one?
Sure. The next question is, are the storage areas separate from the apartments and how large are they? Yes, each apartment is equipped or comes with an outside storage unit, usually right down the hall, or it could be a couple, down in the lower level. It's a storage cage. We call it a glorified phone booth. So it's about 3.5 feet wide by 4 feet deep by 8 feet or ceiling height. And you can put a padlock on it and store things like golf clubs, skis, seasonal items, things like that.
The next question, if we are accepted, what happens if our health declines before we move in? I think you mean if you are accepted to the wait list. That's how I'm going to interpret this question. So if you are on the wait list and your health declines so that you no longer qualify for independent living, we do occasionally take people directly into assisted living. But it all depends on our capacity. And if you come directly into assisted living, you are not on a life care contract then. You're paying what we would call a retail rate for assisted living, which is much higher than the independent living rate. But that said, if you are on the wait list for independent living, you can get priority placement into assisted living if we have capacity. And when I say priority placement, you could get priority placement over anybody else coming in from the outside who was not already on our wait list for independent living. Chrissy, you want to answer the next one?
Sure. Is there bicycle storage if you do not have a garage? The answer is yes. At each campus, you do have undercover bicycle storage. The Ridge and Boulders have underbuilding garages, and they have their bike racks in there. The Woods campus has a separate garage outside of Crawford with bike storage as well. So everybody has undercover bike storage, even if you don't have your own garage.
Great. I'm going to answer the next two because they're a similar theme, which tells me I didn't explain this very well earlier. So the reservation fee. The reservation fee is fully refundable except for $1,000 cancellation fee. So if you decide Riverwoods isn't the place for you, you make other plans, you want to go elsewhere, we refund all but $1,000 of that reservation fee that you placed with us. The interest rate, if you move into Riverwoods, you will earn 4% simple interest on that reservation fee. If you do not move into Riverwoods, you decide to leave the wait list, go elsewhere, then you will earn 0.25% interest on that reservation fee. So the question was, do you get 90% back? The 90% refundability applies to the entry fee that you pay when you move into the community. So that's what the 90% is. Okay, Chrissy, would you like to answer, let's see, the one about the health assessment?
Sure. What is involved in the health assessment? Lisa nor I have ever actually been in a health assessment, but we can tell you it is done by our nurse practitioner. It does have some strength and balance aspects to it, as well as some cognitive testing, which is cognitive testing that you can probably look up on your, if you Google it, there are different tests that are administered. And so they're basically wanting to make sure that you are able to live safely on your own and live safely within a community.
Great. Thanks, Chrissy. Great question about how is a move to the next level determined? So this would be a move from independent living to some level of supportive living, whether it's assisted living or memory care or long-term care. So we very much believe this should be at the resident's choice. We never want anyone to feel like they're being forced to move. That said, we want to make sure that they are also safe living independently, and that they are not a danger to themselves or to the community. So it's kind of a delicate dance and conversation that involves not only the resident, but the resident's physician, sometimes the resident's family, our team of social workers. So it can be a very protracted process, making sure that the resident is on board and feeling like it's the right move for them. We have a question here about the differences between Manchester, Durham, and Exeter. I mean, obviously geography is a difference. The size of the communities is different. Exeter is the largest. We have almost 400 residences here, and the other two communities each have around 150. So those are the primary differences between them. Manchester has a different contract type. They are a type B community. All three of our communities offer these webinars, the RiverWoods 101 webinars. So if you're interested in the Manchester or Durham communities, I'd suggest that you sign up for their webinars and take an hour to sit through them and learn more about them. Chrissy, I think we answered the 90% refundable entry fee question. Do you want to talk about the washers and dryers?
Sure. Yep. So the only community that was built without washers and dryers in the apartments was the Woods campus. And we are now adding those stackable washers and dryers to each apartment as we refurbish them. So many of them already have washers and dryers in them. The only apartments that cannot accommodate a washer and dryer are the studios and the small one-bedroom apartments. But all of the other ones would have a stackable washer and dryer in your apartment. when you moved in. The Woods also has some community laundry rooms, which is what they built originally. So you could, those are full size washers and dryers that you can access at any time.
Great, thanks, Chrissy. We're almost out of time. We have two themes here. One is about the waitlist deposit. The waitlist deposit, is it refunded after we move in, or can it be applied to the entry fee? It works either way. People typically say just apply the deposit or the reservation fee to and the interest earned to my entry fee. That's typically the way it works. If you wanted it refunded back to you, that's fine too. And then the other question is about health qualifications and what's required. Chrissy, do you want to answer that?
Um, well, we talked about the health assessments. There's nothing that would preclude you from coming to Riverwoods, any underlying diagnoses. What they really are trying to do is to make sure that you can live safely, by yourself or within the community. So there are no specific things that we know of that you would need to know before going into the health assessment.
Great. Okay, we are out of time. There's a few questions we didn't get to, but your sales counselor can follow up with you individually. I want to just let you know we have a terrific, our annual webinar on downsizing is next Thursday, February 20th. You can take a picture of this QR code to get registered. Matt Paxton, who's the host of the Legacy List on PBS and formerly hosted a show called Hoarders. This is always a well-attended event. It will be posted to our website after we do the live webinar. So if you can't attend on that date, it will be up on the website. And then the other one I want to let you know about is on March 26th. We have our annual New Hampshire real estate update with Bill Whitaker, who's a local realtor. That's always an interesting event as well, particularly if you're thinking about selling. We appreciate you all joining. If you want to go more information, you can go to our website where we have floor plans and all sorts of things that you can look at there, including other webinars that we've recorded in the past. Chrissy and Dan and I have all been assigned to some of you, and we'll be following up with you, and hope you'll decide to come visit us here in Exeter. So thanks so much for joining, and have a great day.
Thank you.